hour and 37 minutes, and I feel like I'm still on Venus.
It is you night flight to Venus, man, and in now time. Now time, no time.
I woke up to a message Morgan sent me. She said that she was having all these sensations in her legs, and I've been having that for a couple of weeks, and I don't know if it was the same thing because I haven't talked to her.
Right.
But like these sensations in my body when I lay down, it's part of the reason I can't sleep.
I hear you.
It's weird. It's like part of me's trying to like leave my body, or I don't get it. It's weird. So I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff happening.
Oh, in a good way.
Oh yeah.
Well,
That's
way,
yeah. That's the thing. You can see it, right?
Mm-hmm. No, as far as I know, it's going to be in our face. There's no denying it no more. We're definitely going up, man. Big time,
Yes.
quickly. Yeah.
Do you think there's anything to the statement that the more light we see, the more dark we'll see?
I don't know. Again, I sense that's only going to be projected through the media, and obviously the computer's part of that if we tune into it. But I really, I always like the analogy of it, much like the fish tank. You may see it, but it's not at all. You're not in that fish tank.
Yeah.
You're not in the same water, or it's very much, like a bubble that you're in, and as far as I can tell, that just doesn't enter it in that. It's literally where you are is where you are.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just a natural progression where like begets like, and everybody's in their own little fish tank with those like them, impervious and oblivious to anything beyond their little aquarium.
Well, I guess it's definitely good to be aware all this good stuff. But I noticed today there was a vid came out about in Australia there, some nice freedom marches and very peaceful, but definitely fired up, and people aren't going to take this bullshit anymore. And
I'm digging it.
Good to see people, especially in Australia, man. Like,
dude, I was on it as it was happening because Morgan sent me a note. So they were like 2 hours into it. I followed it, and we need to talk about that. We need to talk about that. Man. We don't talk about current issues enough. We haven't to this point so much, but there's a lot of value to it. But anyway, we'll get to that. The theme for the show today, for those of us who've known each other a while, is if you ever get down and think that you're not worthy, just go back to where you started and look at yourself, and then look at where you're at now. As example, how are you doing? This is Todd Medina from Soulogy One Studios. This is my very first broadcast, and it's a real short one. And the message for today is something you're probably going to hear me say a lot of, and that is that I am soul, and so are you. Don't ever underestimate the power of one unique and equal soul, especially yours. Peace. So we've all shown our ass
once or twice.
But isn't that like part of what's happening? It's like, we're getting, at least at some level, energetically undressed. Just everybody's got to cut the shit first with themselves.
Yeah, literally. That authenticity is in your face or not, and very much that old movie Liar Liar is in effect. So you might as well just go with the truth.
Yeah.
It seems to work really well, and it's I think it's quite fine for people to show their ass, and that vulnerability certainly is we call it attractive in a way. It's authentic, it's raw, and it's real, and but I again at the same time I sense so many have really, really to a large extent very much shown their ass enough, and hopefully they don't need to, or if they want to, it's for other purposes.
Man, all I got to say is I remember a moment that it was actually the greatest moment I've ever shown my ass. And it was like, I don't know, probably like 3 months into my spirit walk, 3 months into going on the streets and just waking up. And there's something about when you're totally transparent, and in the human being's case, it's not because you want to be. And there's another thing that happens besides the embarrassment. There's this space that you find where it's like, oh my God, there's nothing to hide. And it's not an anger. It's like, and I don't know how to explain it, but you just get really bold because you got nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty much. And it's sure nice to be yourself, man. Just be yourself. And, it is very attractive when we're ourselves, I believe. And it's really where that, everything seems to come together, that flow, that trust, big one, integrity, just, and very much a shared, spotlight, if you want to look at it that way. It's just very much a shared thing. And when we're not overly concerned with our own gain, let's say, I sense that's all part and parcel of just walking your talk. And that's what we're doing, definitely walking our talk now. And I think and there's also a knowing, no more questions of dates or whatever. It's just literally deciding, knowing, and really in your heart knowing that, you're basically in new earth, and watch everything change. And it's happening, man, big time.
Yeah. And the navigation system's the heart and being yourself. It's like, what? Yeah. I mean, it's there. It's there if we engage it. And I think more and more people are. And to tie us back to what we were talking about, in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. Actually, I went to a site yesterday. There was over 180 protest marches just like that around the world.
Yeah. I seen in England and
all over. So seeing the people get out there, and when I started watching it, it was live. Somebody in the street, I think they were walking to a park. They were walking through the streets, and it was pretty cool. You serve us, you serve us, you serve us. They got to the park. The police came in pretty big numbers. They were a little bit aggressive, and at times the people were pretty focused. But the thing that really impressed me was the feminine, and a couple of them spoke. And then I saw 3 sisters. One of them got pepper sprayed. 3 Muslim women in, the traditional with the thing around here. And then, of course, the diversity of the crowd itself. Many, what you would call like suburbanites, in a good way. Professionals, and young people. And there was just something about it. And you could also see the what was countering that. The energy of the police and the stance of the government and the bullshit, propaganda, and at the core of it, people are waking up, and I don't even know what that means.
Well, I sense it's like, again, there's that general awakening. I think when you figure out, holy shit, it really is this messed up, and then you go, ugh, there's a bit of a panic, and it's I think everyone's at different stages with that, and that's cool. Regarding what's going on with this, it's I sense any, again, there's different levels to it. There'll be people that feel they still need government, and it's not like we don't need representatives of, let's call them administrators for the benefit of all, councils that, but not these parties and all the bullshit of all that, it's just, that's really old energy. But anybody involved with what we've been through this last year, and went along with it, should be just gone. There's really none of those politicians really, represent anybody anymore, in my opinion. But this isn't a political thing. But anyways, it's just really good to see people coming together and very much being peaceful, but at the same time very, strong.
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah.
And definitely, as you mentioned, Todd, with the feminine, definitely that there's such an energy there that it's soft, but at the same time extremely strong, direct, to the point. And of course, masculine embodiment will play their role, beside. And it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I just see it rolling out very quickly, man, really quickly.
Yeah, and I don't know what that means. It's like, what are we getting into? I mean, we could have another dimension come in total or in part. But it's good to see something, because if you think about a lot of the energy, and you can describe it in a lot of different ways, but there's a big part of it is the voice, is the throat chakra, and there is an expansion of that occurring. And if you look at those people marching and you're thinking, how many of those people have gone through a personal transformation in the last 10 years? Had those moments that we've had that we've all shared here. There is something, I think, that's like a third energy, that's in part, its level of influence is coming from us as we become responsible, conscious creators, and that's what's mind blowing to me. That's what's mysterious. That's why is my sensations in my body happening? Why am I having levels of physical teleportation? I'm hearing other stories about other people. Just think about all the stories that we've seen in this community and in Soulogy. All kinds of just different perspectives and the journeys and now they're all coming together.
I hear you, Todd, and I agree with that completely. And I sense everyone really is in their own reality bubble, let's call it, and that to a large degree is very much frequency resonance based. And definitely there's intermingling of like frequency bubbles, and that is cool. It's definitely makes a whole lot of sense to me. That's the way it should be. And that's that multidimensionality kicking in. Really, again, that awareness in the moment. You can really see the subtleties of the differences. People disappearing, reappearing. Traffic. It's just your environment. Really, you can sense how it really changes, and it's very fluid. And that's something I've really picked up on lately, is not to get a bit overwhelmed or panicky if you go into maybe a let's call it a lower frequency bubble. It's not always ours. It's not always based on but there's, call it turbulence that.
Anything can happen as soon as you step out of your home. That's why I go to the grocery store like once a week. It's
interesting. It's interesting, man. It is so cool. And, I definitely know that very much that connection with frequency, our frequency, it really changes our perception. And literally what could appear really bad now appears really good. It's such a dichotomy of weirdness that, and I've just seen it so many times. And, it's almost like we go to an alternate universe in a way, an opposite side of the mirror, whatever. It's, and of course it's that non-polarity aspect is huge, being very much balanced and centered and non-judgmental. And all of that is so much related to maintaining our own frequency, I believe, maximizing it. So, yeah, it's a pretty wild trip, man. And I don't know what to expect either, but I'm seeing, very much everyone really manifesting, bringing this in, like a waking dream. And I sense that's the way this works. We're going to be so amazed with what we co-create, very quickly, not 10 years, not
I think
2
so.
years, like now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's pretty trippy, man.
When I go to the grocery store, and really when I leave the house, there are times I feel like I'm in a video game. Like,
yeah,
I never gave much thought to what Dolores Cannon calls the background people, or
right.
Franco calls extras. Other people, Edgar Casey. I think I brought this up to you before, but
Yeah.
And not to say that there is or isn't that. What I'm saying is, it's like I go out and I see like videotapes playing in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same guy comes around the corner and asks you where something is, or the same cashier, or the same bagger, grocery bagger kid.
For sure.
The kid will say something to you, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. It feels it feels like a deja vu backwards, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. No, that's definitely referenced in the Matrix movie with the cat there, and the deja vus and you catching the loops and whatever. There's so many references, the Truman Show and all types of things that really bring out some big truths. There's always a twist with it. You gotta see the twist, but it is definitely seems to be a bit of a if you want to call it the simulation that's being noticed, and it's really dissolving, and I go back to what I see in my bubble in the city here. It's extremely empty, but nobody seems to know the difference. And I go, well, taking the train to work, I used to be, people packed on there pretty much all the time. But
what city?
In Calgary. In Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
That's a pretty good sized city, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I would think it's at least 1 million people, isn't it?
Supposedly.
Yeah, you talked about this. You talked about this last time.
Mm-hmm.
How there's nobody on the street.
Nope. They're all hiding it from the COVID. No.
Everybody's self-quarantined.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah.
So
they got to be somewhere. They must be hiding in their house. I don't know. They're gone, man.
I have this I have this new technique when I can feel the tears coming on. Those tears of purity where you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no.
My new technique is we're all sitting in a movie theater watching ourselves in this play.
Pretty much now. Yeah, pretty much.
It would be the best movie ever made.
Oh, for sure, man. It's funnier than hell, man. Yeah. Like, wow.
Talk about duality. Just sit in that movie theater and see what see us when no one sees us, and see us when people do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm really sensing that whatever it was that had attempting a grip on things is just completely fading and just completely ineffective. Let's call it. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the proper word, but flaccid, basically. It's just like, what? It's like, come on now. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they pull out of their bag of tricks here, but I sense it's gonna be something pretty wimpy. But anyways, we'll see.
You know what it looks like? It's building up. If I look at these things that happen in these rallies or marches or gatherings that happen in Australia, and I think we've all been in this situation too, at some point in our lives, work or something. And what it is the energy of what's rational, what's logical, what's fair. I mean, like basic. I'm a human being, you're a human being, versus this irrational, ridiculous, bizarre other energy and trying to communicate with it. And I think that's what we're coming to.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I saw, and I got a charge, and I said, man, I guess I got to do more work on the cops. But I saw this lady who was just standing, there, and the cops were like taking a step forward, and they started pushing her. And I'm like, it's one thing to see that type of thing with men because we look at it differently. But if you start seeing that, pushing around women, and you start seeing that on the, from people's cell phones and stuff like that, I don't think people put up with that.
It's
just
it was with that. And again, I didn't see it, but you can generally tell when the street theater's going on. Mm-hmm. And there's, that's just one of the little tricks in the bag.
That's a very good point. Everybody needs to remember that.
Yeah, definitely. There's a whole lot of that. It's definitely all the world's a stage there when it comes to the media and whatever is presented as reality. But
true.
It's. I think it's fading. It's really because it's ineffective.
Well, it's you're right. You're absolutely right, and it is. It's like a tire. It's like a tire that you take the air out slowly. It's whatever it is. It's futile. Whatever it is, it won't sustain itself in this expansion. This whatever's happening to us. It won't. It just look at it now. Look at it now. I turn on YouTube, just whenever, and I'm like these 1 minute clips, 2 minute clips of Joe Biden that are daily. This isn't like one clip. This is like daily, and I don't have any political. Fuck it, But I'm thinking, are you serious? I mean, they did a town hall meeting 2 days ago. That dude Don Lemon was Don Lemon standing on the stage, CNN, and Joe Biden standing on the stage, right? Just talking, kind of like debate style, but there was no other guy. Mm-hmm. And Don Lemon, Joe Biden would be talking, and Don Lemon would be looking at him like, "What?" And so my point is that level of distortion has got to be impacting only the brainless. Right. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in respect to some people, and I've experienced it, and I think we all have to a degree or another, the bottom of the pit, the abyss. And to be going through that right now and being so unconscious, so I respect it, but still, my point is you could take the retired couple that's 70 years old and relatively good health that lives down the street in anywhere in the world, who's never really been clued in, but looking at this going, what in the hell's going on?
For sure, Todd. And I'll say, you mentioned brainless, I would say in the brain, strictly in the brain. That is definitely where mind control, that's why they call it mind control, because it's definitely a whole lot of noise up there and control, and it's very effective. Regarding folks that still maybe believe this, there's some reality remaining. I don't know. Again, I just put it back to the different reality bubbles, and that's okay. I'm good with that. What kind of bugged me, and I'll just say pissed me off, was that we were kind of all in the same bubble for a long, long time, and it really was a bit weird and uncomfortable. So I'm all for this. Look, freedom of choice is a good thing. Yeah, for sure, man.
It's free will.
And very much, let's call it a separation of dreams in a way. And doesn't mean you can't come back, and it's never static. It's just very fluid.
I'm coming back. As soon as we get done, I'm coming back.
Well, for sure. It's definitely the fun house, man.
But okay, so we find ourselves in, and this is like what we're talking about. Everyone here, I know they can relate. Like you have this level of awareness. With one way or another, your senses are coming on. Everybody's different. All right. Everything is moving that direction. You kind of know what it is. Those things that we're talking about as reference points aren't in your field. They're just going away. What do we do? Like, it's okay. So it's time to play. What do we do?
Well, let's run with it.
What do we do with our time? What do we create? What do we become? What the fuck? Let's do it.
Hey man, I agree. Whatever each person, each soul decides to. It's and I sense it's all there is a method to the madness, and people that are of like frequency and resonance and probably old friends are going to now collaborate and do, live the dream. Very much, this is it. Yeah, it's time to play. And
what are you going to do?
Well,
you going down south?
I'm going way down south. Eventually. I actually kind of just a brief message with Morgan there when we were lining this up, and I'll be joining you on the 6 months in a leaky boat tour. So
where
across the 6 months in a leaky boat tour down way down south.
Really?
Perhaps, yeah. We'll have
to. I'm totally open to working something out as a deckhand. If you want to go south, I'm talking south.
I'm talking really south.
Okay,
I think we're aiming for the same place. But anyways, really, I'm just I don't know, rock and roll with this job. I'm loving it. I'm having so much fun with it, and there is obviously that you want to call it 3D, 4D structure to a point. It's kind of in the sales end, so there's definitely a bit of pressure being put on it. Hit the numbers. Come on, you got it. We need one more. And
are you in sales?
Yeah, it would end up looking that way, but it doesn't feel that way anymore. It's mainly I look at it as a pathway to people bringing their dreams to life, realizing their dreams,
right on.
And it is so cool because I don't feel the pressure to, force anything. It's just literally, is this a fit for you? Are you a fit for us? It's like, it really is the type of, if you want to call it, curriculum that is really highly specialized, and they do deliver regarding, the placements and this type of thing. So I guess what I'd say is when I talk to people, I'm literally my crazy self and it works. Go figure. I'm authentic with people that I talk to, generally on the phone and then through meeting rooms like this. And I'm just a bit nuts, and it works because I'm just being authentic. And at the end of the day, I'm really not overly concerned about selling them anything. It's like, hey, let's do this. This is the plan. This is what you always wanted to do. So let's go for it. So it's fun, man. So I'm bringing that into the field. I hope to have a remote gig, because that would be nice to have that. Maybe we don't got to do the 6 months in a leaky boat thing.
What's a remote gig? What's a remote gig?
Well, kind of like you, be able to work.
Oh yeah.
Do your thing, and be able to, because there's no need to be in an office. It's all, so that's kind of cool. But that's what I'm going to do. That seems to be part of it. And,
I have to ask you, what are you into? What is it? What's the product or service? Just quick.
Well, yeah, sure, man. It is all visual arts, and the programs would all be, a couple would be online game development and design, which is pretty specialized and huge. 3D animation, another program, and design, fashion design, interior design, architecture, visual effects, which is kind of for film oriented stuff. Wow. And it's pretty cool and very condensed, accelerated learning. Generally people do it online. There's on-ground campuses, which fortunately more and more people are now wanting to return to. And I don't know, dude, like when I go out, it's changed so much since in this last 2 weeks since we talked. I'm seeing people on the streets again, no masks, happy, and yes, it's summer, but there's a different vibe, man, and it's different than it was just a short period ago. So that shows me that at least it seems to be kicking in my reality bubble.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Did everything change, or did you? That's what I'm always.
Yeah, no, that's always that's a good question. I sense it's we change, and that's literally, and so fluid, man, so fluid, And how about you, Todd? Like, you tell me, because I know when we speak it out loud, guess what? It seems to.
What would you like to know?
What's your plan? Plan to play?
I have a plan.
No plan.
What's my plan to play? Oh, my plan to play. Right now, this is my plan to play. Cool. Do this show and enjoy every bit of it. Lay down for an hour and a half. Get up and do another show. Enjoy every bit of it. Get off of that and probably lay down for a few minutes, and then, go do a couple of things. I mean, my point is today. That's really it. I wish that I have, like the universe knows my heart's desire in all ways. And if I go looking for it, that's sending out two different vibrations. I saw something on Abraham Hicks that referenced that. So I don't know. To me, it's like just getting familiar with the way this all works now. Yeah, there's so many things dropping away and so fast that it's altering the experience if you're plugged in and you really don't have a choice as time goes on. Yeah. And I don't know. You just go from grace to gratitude to a little fear pops in to a drowsy download to you go to the convenience store and you have a reverse deja vu. I mean, there's just all these things happening.
I hear you, man.
And it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I'd go back. Cool. I'd go back to the very much the knowing and the imagining that you're already there for that. Very much part of that manifestation of really knowing, not chasing it, just knowing and imagining that whatever that dream may be, that you're living it already now, and it just seems to come in subtly and from different maybe areas that you wouldn't expect it to, and that seems to be how this again kind of dream co-creation resonancing field works. And I'm like many, still playing with it a lot, and the mad scientist, I gotta figure it out in a way, because I like to, not so much for me, but just to be able to hopefully share that at some point, because I know everybody's really, has done so much work, and it's time, man. It's time to get this show on the road, and it is, man. It's not, it's not like it's flying, man, and I'm very happy.
Cool.
Yeah.
You remind me of Tom Berenger.
Well, yeah, he's
cool dude, man.
Yeah, he was cool dude. Yep, yeah. Platoon. Yeah, he's kind of an asshole on that show, but yeah.
We all got that, don't we?
Yeah,
we all got that.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the whole thing, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. Whatever we're seeing out there is getting ridiculous. And at the same level, I think what's happening with us is relative to that. In other words, our expansion is expanding, and one of the other reasons that's becoming a non-issue, even though something's going to play out. But
I guess I would say that I sense this, if you want to call it a split, it's just more of a choice of, well, do we kind of need the, let's call it the 40 Trump, I sense Trump will come back, and that will be all wonderful and yay and way better than we have. And maybe the Jacera Nacera thing and yay, but it's still kind of packaged, the same kind of system. But that's okay for people who would prefer that. That's good. Go for it.
That stuff doesn't. That stuff is every bit of it. Look, I love this comment by our beautiful sister Pamela Johnson, because it sums up.
Hey Pamela, you're supposed to call me or let me talk to you, but you won't.
She says, cleaning my house like a crazy lady on speed. I can't stop. I'm preparing for something. Maybe want to leave the house in order. It is up to my soul's choice, which hasn't been made clear. But see, to me, that sums it up, because that's kind of how I feel. You can, I don't know. There's something happening here at this level that almost like you can check out. Mm-hmm. You can hang out. And I don't know. What's the third choice? Walk around dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I sense I sense it's again very fluid, that multidimensionality kicking in, and really very much able to go back and forth, and I sense there will come a point in time where we just say, no, I think that's good. I've had enough of that, and just to each their own, man. Very much all about that. It's definitely, and that's where, yes, it's a collective ascension, and it's just at different bubbles of wherever you want to call it, resonance and experience, and that's all good. That sovereignty definitely is reflected in that free choice.
Yeah. And I think we do have a choice, certainly at the soul level, and I wonder about the human aspect, the human soul level. But for me, it's like, look, let's get it on, because I'm getting bored. You know what I mean? So, like if you play video games or anything you've done in your life where there's like getting a black belt in martial arts, there's stages, right? There's a graduation aspect to it. Mm-hmm. But I want to see. Let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aids off.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah, no, it's I sense graduation's already happened, and this is just the whatever you want to call it. We're getting to the after party. I like the after grad better than the grad. Always did.
Yeah. I hope we get there. I hope we get there by happy hour.
Oh, for sure, man. Well, you got to be happy to get there. So it's kind of a given. But it's, as I say, I don't know what it looks like for everyone, and I know it's very much obviously about sharing experience and what can hopefully speed up a process if someone chooses that. Maybe they don't want to speed it up, and again, very much a big part of it is discovering it yourself. Mm-hmm. So there's a huge satisfaction in that, and feeling of accomplishment that is important. Yeah.
Morgan often says, "Why would I want to steal that from somebody?"
That's for sure. Yeah, I think it's important that it's available, but definitely not a whatever you want to call it, something that's heavily promoted or whatever.
Yeah, I got you.
Those who want it, find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the biggest impacts, and not in a negative way, I think in a very constructive way, has been the way our connections, human to human, one to one, the way our connections, communication systems, or this whole thing has affected these boots on the ground type of connections, which is primarily through a mirror, like you or whatever. And that's pretty interesting, because it looks like people as a whole are speaking their truth. are bearing their
Absolutely.
bones, you know what I mean? Are making decisions to do their own thing. If you think about how many people in the last year and a half, you know, and small businesses around the world have, and what they've gone through.
Yeah.
It's a wonder there's not a mass revolt. You know what I mean? And what I'm trying to say is that tells me something about people.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a good thing. Just like watching those people yesterday in the park, is that as the cops got a bit aggressive, almost like daring them.
Yeah.
The people were telling each other, keep it peaceful, keep it peaceful. And I'm like, wow, that's just like, that's it.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with that absolutely. It is definitely seems that everyone's got the message regarding that fine balance and energy in confronting, however, not you know, going to the extent of whatever, basically lowering frequency. It's just pushing the envelope. And again, I'll put a twist on the businesses, and so much of what's changed is part of this transition of and many people disappearing, or what appeared to be, you know, could be background characters. I don't know. Businesses are all part of that. Like this whole thing needs to seem seamless. There needs to be some reason for the changes, right? And if you have this big change that literally the whole, again, it's just a theory, but if you had a whole lot of background characters, or perhaps there was an actual opening of a multiplex theater and many went into this movie theater and many went physically into this one, and that would have to be kind of explained, right, somehow. So this seems to be the way the dream, whatever, kind of explains it, right? Right. So again, it's subtle. These things are so subtle, but when they keep piling up, okay, yeah, and it's all good. It's all good. I'm steadily gauging it by what's going on in my bubble.
Yeah,
because that is definitely all I'm in somewhat control of, and it seems to work.
Yeah,
it seems to work.
And is there an element of the way your bubble kind of rolls is predicated on or originated from the way, how do I say this? The way, it's going to sound wrong, the way you serve yourself in terms of, like, say you're on the outside looking in, the way you support yourself, the way you create yourself, the way you honor yourself, the way you to thine own self be true. Like, there seems to be your needs, taking care of your needs, no matter what they are. I mean, just all kinds of things that are really, I guess, speak to being present with yourself in a conscious moment-to-moment experience.
Yeah, being very clear, very authentic.
So, like, somebody like you could have cleared the whole block, 5 blocks this way and 10 blocks that way with your bubble. Not cleared, but I mean, created a higher frequency of illumination that is now going to be a tower, right? I mean, this is happening all over the world.
Yeah, and then as you always say, Todd, with the we're more than two gather, or two or more gather. Absolutely true, in so many respects, and that's definitely a whole part of this. Those, if you want to call them pillars, their bubbles are definitely joining and covering this whole thing, and it's just rolling out and getting bigger and bigger, and it's literally, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just literally transforming all this stuff, and I just sense it, and I'm already getting there, that so much of what occurred in the past, we're just barely going to remember it. It's like, what? That's what I'm
it's
just like, what?
That's what I'm thinking. Because it kind of feels like that energetically.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've got, a huge extended family, and honestly, other than my kids, and I can't even speak for all of them, and there's no bad blood. I mean, maybe not with not with my kids, but with the extended family. I don't know, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's energetically not the, let's just say the like the etheric attachment, via the bloodline, all that stuff, right? It's different. It's like it's not there, but it's there. It just doesn't have like strings on it or something. But anyway, having that type of, I think a lot of people could relate to something like that metaphorically. What does that create? Which is, again, like, maybe that's the reason we can't remember things 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 5 days ago.
That's
Maybe
for
it's
sure.
all going on.
That is for sure, dude. And that's always a good sign. You're definitely in the moment, and it's all these things, and it's always beneficial not to drag that past, because again, it's weird, but there's a kind of a theory, that as you align with higher timelines, that literally the past changes. So maybe that's that effect of maybe stuff that maybe wasn't so great in the past is now faded. It just doesn't create that trigger anymore of whatever it was back then. And it's I believe that to be true, because I believe we literally, in so many ways, many came back from the future to change the past, to correct something, and I believe that has happened, and now it's just rolling forward. Fast forward back to the future. It's all these movie references, and breaking the 88s. That's all about this time loop.
What's it called? Breaking the 88s.
Breaking the 88s. Even they referenced it in Back to the Future. 88 miles per hour. It's breaking the 88s. It's symbolic of the analemma, which is the shape that the moon and the sun make. If you chart it over a year, it makes an 8, and it's part of this construct, right? And literally, it's all very symbolic of, again, going to that no time,
Do you think that? Do you
perception?
I just have a question. Like, okay, so like, just as an example, Spielberg makes that movie. That symbol comes up, or say there's some intended,
there's intended. Oh yeah,
yeah. So then I go like this. Okay, where did you get that from?
I sense they know all about it.
Of course. So, yeah, and I don't want to get into that. What I was going to say is, because it'll be too long. What I was going to say is, when you were talking about the past changing, and that's become more and more of a embodiment or knowing, I think, for people. Maybe that's the simulations that we've run off the middle road collapsing, right? And then I heard something crazy, not crazy, but it was really thought-provoking for me because of the metaphor that it brought up, or the image or the vision of it. And so I was listening to, and I don't even know what talk show it was. And the guy says there are people who are, how do they say this? In other words, the I am soul, the soul highway, the 0 point, you can't miss a step. There are people that are doing that all over the world, and they're doing it in a mass, in an expanding way. And then he said, and the other type is the one that tries to expand via technology.
Right.
And I went, wait a minute, hang on a second. And you could just see the truth in that statement without him expanding on it at all. Because if you look at, and it's all external, right? Mm-hmm. It's all two things, kind of spiritually lazy and external, but it's certainly the opposite direction of what he described with the first group of people.
Right.
And so I was like, I mean, I have these moments where you can just like break it down to it's this or that. It's this or that. And that's what it feels like to me. It feels like there's a big this or that kind of thing happening.
Oh, big time.
And it's moving pretty fast. And it's interesting because you know how everything's constructed in the physical, like the propaganda and the BS and the control and all that. But in the non-physical, we're starting to understand how that's constructed. And that's going to be, to me, where all the action is.
Oh, for sure, man. No,
what's happening off camera? What's happening in the ethers as it becomes more of a physicality? I mean,
absolutely, Todd. Yeah. No, it's definitely. I'd call it organic ascension version.
So check this out. Okay. So Pamela said remote viewers saw, and because this was the question I stopped asking. She said it better. Remote viewers saw higher beings downloading Spielberg in a good way. And that was my question. Thank you, Pamela, for helping me put it together. Do you think that, let's just say Spielberg is being told what to do by whoever say the Illuminati, do you think that it's possible when anything is made?
That one's going to land right on me.
I don't think they want us to talk about this.
No, that's just a big honking jet, man. Or maybe it was a jet.
but here's what I'm saying. Okay, it's the same thing as just this plane going over. So in other words, is there always a thread of the universal oneness, the universal truth, no matter what somebody's intention is? As the fractal of that, right? What do you think? Like, in other words, he was following the Illuminati's orders. Let's just say that's the case. I'm not saying he did, but this higher thing was coming in, and it always is there, kind of thing. You understand?
Yeah. Were you asking me that, Todd, or Pamela? I wasn't sure.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, okay. I zoned out there for a second.
The way she put it, she was putting the it's like putting the spiritual with the tech part, and she said it like where does it end? I mean, is it always there? Like if you look at all the sacred texts, a lot of them have been modified, but there's this thread of truth, right? I mean, there's something about
absolutely.
it.
No, it's always it's always very much the same information. However, it's what it's used for. And there's always a twist to it, an inversion with, let's say, the matrix. And again, I go back to whatever you want to call it, but generally it requires a heart connection, requires connection to source to, very much be in that organic ascension. And I sense that there's beings or whatever that prefer more of a AI type ascension or experience. And that's cool. That's wonderful. That is perfect. But don't, if we can make a sovereign choice as to which we would prefer, and yes, organic ascension seems to require a whole lot of work, whereas the other one maybe don't.
I think everybody's going to be forced into an organic ascension, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
It is interesting. Sure. Yeah, it's very interesting what you're bringing up because. Okay, so let's just say there's 100 balls going down the road, and on one end it's pure tech, and on the other end it's Buddha, right? Mm-hmm. So all in between, there's these levels of the two, right?
Yeah.
And so one is more implanted in the game, almost, but the game's at a point now where you're like going, okay, this game is. Getting too predictable. I mean, like this is just like, it's not even about fear. It's just like, this is stupid. Right. And then on the other end, right. And so I see these two, like as the two markers, and some people, I even ask myself, how much of this do I want to go through in the physical? Do I want to be around for 100 years? If I could be
1,000
or 1,000, if I could be here to be part of a group, a ground crew that literally, well, by human terms, overcame death, that ascended, that went through the same process as people physically transitioning prior to them. If that's going to occur, I'm game. Okay.
Get ready, man.
You know, I'm sold. I'm sold on it.
Let's do it.
And maybe we're going to have to see from our own perspective, each one of us individual, the deepest degrees of horrific crap, or maybe not.
I don't think we do, man. I don't.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't feel that's part of the process. It's just literally different movie theaters, different reality bubbles that are fortunately separated. Thank God.
You know what? You know what? I wonder this. Tell me what you think about this. I wonder if it's going to come down to, because if you think about most of the world's plugged in, even though they may not be on Facebook every day, there's some connection there. All right. Mm-hmm. Obviously, most of that is created, especially what is uniformly broadcast. Let's just say that most of that's controlled, right? So it's probably going to come down to what's presented. Right. That's the lure, right? It's going to come down to how that populace or how that viewership reacts. Is it going to be, let's kill them, or is it going to be, peace, man? Like, that's your deal. I'm going over here because this ship's going down quick. And if it is, it is. And if it isn't, it isn't, right?
Yeah, I sense it's what we tune into, man, and again, all that polarity and duality comes into play there big time. You got to get past that. However, you do. There's nothing wrong with having preferences, and it's difficult to get your head and heart around the fact that this simulation, for a large part, has been used as a feeding machine. In general, it could have been a school at one point that kind of became something else that wasn't really very good. So no one has to agree with that. I know it to be true. Yeah. And I sense it's literally, hey, this is your opportunity to bring that down, perhaps, or at minimum leave it. And that definitely is sovereign choice, and very much it is, the collective is involved. But again, I always felt a bit trapped relying on the collective to kind of bring up the rear, if you want to call it that. I just always felt that doesn't sound kosher to me. Well, like, hurry up. Fuck.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyways. I think that energy, from whatever group is involved with that has been felt too. It's like, come on, it is getting boring. Let's get it going.
Yeah. But anyways, it's I don't know. All I can go is from what I'm experiencing, and I obviously will be looking for bigger signs in the whole world. Let's say big collective. How those changes come about and how that looks. But literally it is literally our own reality bubble. That is our best gauge. And if we can literally tune out from the distraction, be aware of it, but not at all be, knowing that it's literally meant as a trap, a distraction.
It's coming.
Yeah.
When I say it's coming, I'm just saying anything you resist is coming. It's all coming.
Oh,
it's
for
all
sure.
Coming. It's all coming to all of us. And
yeah.
But when you look at like if you went back 20 or 30 or 40 years ago and you said, okay, there's going to come a point, and this people wrote stuff like this. We can name a few people that you're going to get marked with 666, or you're all going to get vaccinated. Whatever the case is. At first it's kind of like, oh, that's far out there, and then as you get closer and closer, you start to see that,
Well,
but let me just finish real quick, and I'll give it back to you.
Oh, you bet, Todd, for sure.
But I was just going to say, if you just put from an energetic standpoint, the entire world, even if they try to be covert, but let's just say overall, tries to give everybody a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
This is now the moment. This is the moment. And maybe this is what it comes down to. And maybe it's something else where people say, you know what? I'm not doing it. You'll have to, hold me down, imprison me, kill me, whatever, but I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy of that is what I'm talking about. The energy of people doing that, because I think one of the things that's really the mystery of what we're getting into, but also the most potential, the most powerful, is our ability to create from our thoughts instantaneously. It becomes more and more of a reality. So I think it's a good thing. And I hope they say, hey, y'all need to get it, because I'm ready to get the party on. Anyway, thank you for letting me expand on that.
Well, no, I appreciate that, Todd. Very much along the same lines. I sense with that, all of this is very symbolic. It always has been the 666, and I'll just put it that symbology is definitely related to the vaccine. There's a whole lot with that, and it's not that you're going to follow the devil or something. It's more so that I sense that you're just not ready to ascend, and you made that choice at a soul level, and that's cool.
And I should say, I don't want this to sound wrong, because I totally respect anyone that does whatever they want.
Me
totally.
Too.
Stay in your own lane. If you want to do, it's not about, I'm not debating whether it's for me. This is my stance, and I'm seeing other people do it. I'm just, somewhat intrigued. I'm sorry to interrupt you on that, but so much intrigued.
No worries, dude.
By the potential of a mass, of a large amount, even a small minority of people going no.
Mm-hmm.
No, all the way down the line, first with my spouse, second, with every single external thing, right up to the big chief or the big goddess.
I can relate it to my brother, and I love him dearly, John. As far as my family, my sister and brother don't have my mom and dad are passed. Anyways, brother extremely awake most of his life. We traveled a lot. We had a shitload of fun. We did the party treats, a whole lot of exploration through the years. He's 10 years older than me. He decided to get the vax. He lives out in Kelowna, away from Calgary. We talk every once in a while, but I was shocked. But you know what I picked up on it? I just sense that people aren't, sure, there's an aspect of fear and mind control that can obviously take effect if we're in our fucking mind. And there's that aspect, but I literally sensed at a soul level, he decided, no, I'm not quite ready I'm ready for another go around or whatever. And I said, basically in my heart, I said, well, God bless you, man. That's okay. That's your choice. And that's cool. No one forced you. You chose it. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean I'm not going to hang out with them or I don't love them less. Or
exactly.
It's just, I sense it's not a choice I would have made.
Well, it's not, that's a great example. That's a great example, because this is really what's happening in the moment, what's being presented to you in the moment. And that's such a great example, because it's not what we see. It's what we put out based on what we believe we see. Right. And so I think part of what's happening, it used to be what we think we see. And part of what's happening is we're people talk about discernment and judgment, but it's several things, and it's creating a difference in the atmosphere. I don't know if you saw that show with Susan Bornstein and her daughter Annie. They're Canadians, and we did an hour-long show. And
I didn't see that one.
Okay, no. I told Morgan after it was over, this is the best show that ever happened on Soul Speak 5D, because it carried so many frequencies, so many different things. And the central point of it was Annie, when COVID started. Now, Annie's 42 years old, married, 2 children. When COVID started, after a big buildup, like everybody's transformation, became trans. over this period of time. So there was this nucleus of a family. There was that vibration of it, how they all supported it. Now, the mother, Susan, lives on the other side of Canada. When we did the show, she'd been there. She said she started the show like this: in the last 7 days, me and my daughter, me and Annie, have aligned. And she said, and I realized when I heard her perspective that it was exactly the same thing I'm doing in my own life. And it was all about individuality and sovereignty and pursuit of your own truth of yourself and being bold and courageous. And it was an amazing story. And on top of that, the entire family, which I think was 6, 7, people that lived where Annie lived. And Annie, by the way, another part of the story, Annie's spouse has stayed through this transition and they remain. The kids are good. I mean, it's okay. In the middle of all this stuff, right? Now, as a kicker, Susan flies in from another side of Canada. There's a lot of talk before out of mutual respect and what you're leading into. And what happened was Susan wasn't going to get vaccinated and didn't. The entire family unit did. So they met in this common ground with these 3 or 4 issues going on. Opportunities for 2 or more, right? To expand together. And the energy was absolutely amazing. And I kept thinking to myself, how many things like this are happening all over the world? Because that's going to be felt. That's unity consciousness. That's staying in your own lane. That's honoring what you see and not putting shit back out into the field.
Yeah, absolutely, Todd. And again, how it looks, and with this big rollout of that, is I do believe it. Again, since we're talking about vaccine, is I believe it to be a internal frequency fence. I without getting into all the whatever science behind it, it's relating to our DNA and our ability to hold light. It reduces that, and it in turn keeps one's consciousness in a lower frequency. That is the theory behind it, amongst a whole lot of other things. But I certainly won't judge it as, oh, you took the vax, or you're stupid, or I don't love you, or anything like that. It's more so, well, hey, that's your choice. And if they asked me beforehand, or if I found out before, I say, please research this, maybe send them a couple things, but prior, but and I sense it's not I believe it can be reversed, but I really sense it as a symbolic choice that I'm just not ready to ascend this go around. And that's cool, because maybe I'm a younger soul. We're all different ages, and it's all, that personal choice of what you wish to experience. And again, how it looks, man, I don't know. I sense, again, very much a fluid state of being able to interact with all movie theaters to a degree, but for the most part, I sense ultimately our own personal heaven is going to be with like resonance beings that we love very much, our soul tribe, and it's literally heaven on earth. So the more the merrier. The more the merrier, man.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I mean, my thoughts daily are, well, there are a lot of things, but I mean, certainly space and time. It's weird because you can do little exercises, so to speak, to kind of process or deal with that or collapse that. And then there's also like those little glitches you were talking about, where it's obvious it's going out. This ain't going to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like we're standing where we think we're standing, and there's a big overlay that's just pulled up, and we're all going to be going, "Wow!" Like you can see everything.
It's like the veil, and that is that call it the matrix. It's an overlay that was to a large degree very much based on how our consciousness was wired, and our frequency, and very much that was a big MO of the operation, and that veil is now fading, and I can't say it's fading for everyone, because again, it seems to be very individual, in groups, and that I'm very fortunate to be associated with this group,
Thank you.
I really mean that.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean it. I mean, like, I don't know.
Excuse me.
That's weird you said that. It really hit me because I was thinking about that this morning in my, discombobulated state, half off planet. Because I had gone to the YouTube metrics and the numbers, and I was looking at it and I was just going, wow. And there's it's one emulation of or attempted emulation where two or more gather with so many. I mean, we're talking so many people. That is an example, maybe not perfect, and it's under the radar. And to me, that's how this energy is working. That's how what we're talking about. That's how it operates. That's why I was asking the question about, do you think that in everything, which you answered perfectly, is there that thread of truth? Is there always something in what we see? I mean,
I think it's how we perceive it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How we perceive it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, that frequency connection is right there. That whatever you want to call it, remembrance or whatever, came in a couple of years ago, where I was just, it's just literally, at one point I thought it was like literally an overlay would come in, or a different version of things, but it seems to be our perception changes, and then maybe it's the same thing, but it's powerful when you know that, because then you can, again, the fluctuations in our frequency, you can see it. You say, yeah, that seems to hold, and then you say, well, hey, shit, man, if I can just get my frequency high and keep it there and increase it, well, hey, look at this, man, it just opens up and seems to be the secret, not that it's a secret anymore.
you were telling us last time that what you had done, you made a lifestyle choice, and of course not just that, but energetically that was kind of a good representative of what you were doing energetically, the transformation that so many of us have come into at different times and are doing overall. But like before and after, okay, I'm kind of going back to something I was asking about earlier, but before that, your level of engagement with people, period, like, whatever, by whatever means. And let's just say after you went through it all, after you made the process or you completed the process, your level of engagement or lack thereof, was there any change in, like, let's say the occurrences, or was there any change in the way you were relating with people or the way you were experiencing human interaction?
I can say, at least for myself, I was always very, outgoing, gregarious, and happy no matter what. But definitely, if anything, I think, again, probably the biggest one is just the more like full, straight on authenticity, raw, and nothing to hide. Nothing, even things that maybe I wasn't too proud of in the past. I would have, wouldn't have wanted to talk about them or opened up about them, But if any, and probably a bigger ability to trust. All through my life, I was very much selective with who I would trust, but now I'm open to it, because I really, at the end of the day, you are what you are, and people like you and resonate with you, or they don't, and that's okay. And maybe they will at some point, or they won't. It's just like, okay, well, I'm just being myself. So, you be yourself. I like you, the way you are.
Right. There's nothing more attractive, I guess, magnetic, than seeing a person, be it a woman, a man, a child, who is comfortable in their own skin, who's the embodiment, of presence, I guess, right? And you see it in kids until, the conversion begins.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that energy, or that description, describes the energy, in a way, of what's happening, right? Like, I don't know, maybe that's a big one of those universal law threads that's in everything that's ever presented to any of us, is all these cameras and photos and the whole selfie and the whole personalization of all these incredible billions of souls is in itself an unveiling, people getting comfortable with being seen. I don't know. It's happening. And I'm excited to see. I think there's going to be what would I say? A very noticeable, everyone kind of knows it level of advancement or expansion, whatever that may look like. And I have no idea. Volcanoes, earthquakes, peaceful marches, spaceships land. I mean,
I'll give you an example of something I noticed. It was just recently here, and it was I know there's a ton of fires in the U.S. and other parts of the world, and up here as well. And we got socked into it for about a week with just this really weird white haze, and it was like literally being in a cloud. And but there was no smell or taste of the smoke. It was like, so it was almost like I sensed it was like an overlay of really minimized, let's say, effect of a lower timeline. It still had to appear, but it wasn't at all. It didn't hurt so much, like with these earthquakes or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure they're occurring in, let's call them, different movie theaters. And we're still seeing another version of it, but extremely minimal effects. And as far as, let's call it, tragedy or whatever, or any harm. So it's almost, again, that's that bubble, that reality bubble. We're sensing it, what's going on in other frequencies, perhaps even dimensions, a lower dimension, because I really believe we are over that threshold of 5D. Again, all of this is theory and metaphors to describe these jumps in frequency of a certain threshold where literally, everything is completely different. And it's really wild, very wild, the subtleties.
Pamela says, yes, exclamation point. 7.0 Panama earthquake that no one felt.
Ah, interesting.
See, I think that's kind of like what I got from you, was like this haze comes in and you see it for what it is as we transition in this, whatever you want to call it, interdimensional or whatever the space is, as things seem to be changing and maybe splitting, or I don't know how you put it, but yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it's so trippy. And again, what really gives me peace of heart and mind is that we all have the ability and the choice as to our frequency and our focus. And a lot may not be aware of that, but that will come. And I sense a whole lot of people are just a high frequency naturally. And they're lucky. They're very lucky, and don't necessarily need to know all about this ascension stuff. They just go with it. And,
that's right.
And it's cool. But it definitely seems to be the fuel or the navigation through this, up and down and sideways and whatever.
That I was just thinking this a minute ago when you were talking that too. Shauna Hart said, "Oh my God, I lost it." Oh, here we go. I apparently am an interdimensional being, and my conversations over the last couple, well, I've had a lot of them. We all have, all day long, every day, right? But like the whole, okay, here's where we're at. What do we do? Kind of thing. And like what I receive is be what you are. And that's the answer is no longer I'm a human here, going through the shit. It's more like apply it. If you apply it, it will appear. So, if you look at, for instance, like the transition of the organic carbon-based body to a crystalline body, there's a lot of evidence. There's a tremendous amount of evidence. And so things like that what parallels that? What potentials parallel the transformation at more levels in biology, of this vehicle that we're in, of this collective effort, it's fascinating. And so my okay, there's a question to it. So what's kind of happened is, and this is all like post, like say from June, and I think people could relate to this. A lot of alone time, a lot of imagining time.
Imagination. Huge.
Like, what do you want? Well, and this conversation goes like this. What do you want? Well, what are the rules? Well, there are no rules. It's spontaneous. It's intuitive. It's natural. So you're trying to like find the bearings there, and your rational and logic has to come down, and your spirit takes over. So there's that whole thing going. But so I spend most of my day imagination, doing a little work, doing these shows, and trying to work with that, be it my light body coming out of me, be it telekinesis, be it teleportation, whatever. I'm trying to develop that. And I think it's not even trying to, it's like, I believe that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Todd.
Because like, it's obvious that the individual is representing in this hero's journey, representing the collective. And it's these personal stories that are carrying the code and the frequency that will blow this world to pieces, man. In
a good way.
Absolutely, absolutely,
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, in a good way.
Yeah. I agree. Todd. It's all coming online, man.
Yeah,
all of it, and all of again, so much of it's metaphor. That's the only way we can communicate about this: symbology, metaphor, narratives, stories of prophecy, myth. Bring it all together, and we're literally all of these abilities, and you want to call it organic technology. Third eye coming online. The ability.
Third eye's a beast, man.
Oh, it's definitely the way to tune into this stuff as far as get a visual on it, big time. I remember talking about that a while back, and it's just become more and more clear that again, the rewiring aspect, all of this stuff starts to hook up again, and it much like our own physical body, or we'll call it carbon-based body, is such a miracle of just the way it works, that our light body is as equal and more amazing, how it all links, and it all gets turned on. So all of these things you were talking about teleportation, basically all of these, telepathy, big one. I'm really experiencing more and more of that. I actually was forced into it a bit with my computer. Is computer. That was a scene in Star Trek. Yeah.
Yeah.
The old. Oh, how quaint!
I thought you were
Keyboard.
tripping balls for a second.
Yeah, no. Well, usually, yeah. Computer. Anyways, my computer got wet, so I couldn't type anything. So I was literally, how do I? And I'm too lazy to pull the tabs off to fix it. So, anyways, started communicating with songs and symbols as usual. Lots of emojis and whatever, copy and paste. But it's quite interesting. But I picking up on the telepathy thing that it's
that's cool.
literally we're.
No words,
no word, not a whole lot required anymore. It's just the symbology, and that seems to be very connected to telepathy and communication. Moving forward, it's a lot more.
It's there's so many words, but sovereignty seems to be the one that can contain it the most, but one can't contain it all. And it just seems obvious that staying in your own lane, and I mean that is an absolute. It's going to be enforced. That's just the way it works, and that seems to be the direction we're going.
Absolutely, yeah. And I really sense it's. I apologize if the background noise. I got noisy neighbors. Anyway, no worries. So anyways, with that, I just sense we're at the point where, hey, everyone's made their choices and we're all good. At one point, there was a big effort to save people and, get the information and convert. I'm going to convert you. Anyway, it's like, no. Anyways, but everyone's on their own trip, and that's cool, man. Like
one thing that's funny. We have to laugh at ourselves, but like if you look back, and I'm not making fun of anybody, I've done the same. I'm sure, but one of the things that you don't see anymore, it used to be, I am Archangel Michael. I am, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with even saying that now. All I'm trying to do is make a point. And the point is you don't see that as much anymore. People are coming into their own. And looking back now, we all showed our ass. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just, I guess at the end of the day, we are the initiators, all of us. And that's one of the big takeaways from the throat chakra expansion. Because that's pure intention, pure alignment, and everything's energy. I hope we get to that after party by happy hour.
Well, for sure, man. No,
and I think they have. What do they have? They have like nachos or
every favorite band in the world is going to be there, and whole lot of karaoke too. So. A lot of dancing. Remember Pamela dancing? Yes. Anyways, yeah. Hey, hey man, whatever we want is going to be there. And,
hey, I did this with Eric Rankin as we were getting off the show a week ago or so. So I'm gonna say a word, and you tell me what comes to your mind. Okay.
Beautiful.
It was just something we did spontaneously. Actually, I'm going to change mine because of the question you just asked or the statement you just made. I'm going to change it to a question and maybe at times a word. So, when you have the ability to do what you just said, what musical act would you sit front row seat with first? Who would be the first one?
Wow, there's so many, man. So many. Wow, if I had to pick one. I don't know. How about Pink Floyd, Depeche Mode, Queen?
No, just one. Pink Floyd. You're a Pink Floyd dude. Okay.
It was the best show I seen it in the physical, so I'm sure they'd be pretty trippy.
Laser light show. What?
Yeah, they were good.
And who and what does Jesus mean to you?
Yeah, no, I believe definitely. much, again, symbology wise, much like Neo in the Matrix. You know, Trinity was Mary Magdalene. They were people, souls that came to help guide folks out of the Matrix, out of the Loosh machine, out of, very much the same tools that we're sharing now in the
Yeah, there
heart,
you go.
that rewiring. So I
Do you-
believe he was an example.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think, okay, if a soul is in a body and that soul is on earth and that soul connects with a future self, version of itself, and is standing in the same bedroom with that soul on earth, is the soul in both of them? Is it separated?
Interesting question.
That's a Pink Floyd question, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, like
I'm comfortably numb, man.
Is
I'm
that
comfortably numb.
is that possible? I mean, we do it in our imagination, which is just as real. We visit a future self. We visit a past self. A lot of people, inner child. Do you feel like things that are non-physical are coming into the physical?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's an intermingling of those, I guess, dimensional spaces of dream manifestation. And regarding that question, I would say absolutely yes. Soul in both. And probably higher aspects, again, higher self. And again, I'm very much with the theory, the metaphor that we are literally anchoring our higher selves into this light body. And because literally in the out there's not as much fun to be had because it's not physical, where we have that here. And that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
For sure, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Man, there's a lot of things happening. And one of the things that's happening that's pretty cool is my body, and I'm sure other people, my body's coming online. Like it's feeling things it's never felt before. I'm like, ooh. No, I'm serious.
No, I hear you, man.
Yeah, it's
don't mind me laughing. I just can't.
No, but it's part of it too. It's weird. Yeah. So, dude, I'm gonna go run. I've got to run to.
I hear you. Yeah, I know.
Get some. I can't believe I'm doing this, man. Like every day, 24 to 48 ounces of juice, fresh
Beautiful.
juice, 80% greens. I mean, I'm like, what's happening?
Whatever works, eh? And that, I pound a ton of water. And I love it.
Me too. Coconut water, and but I guess I'm getting this. I'm going to put it on the table because it. There's a really big. There seems to be, and I don't know if it's in my head because I've got resistance, but I'm sure I probably do. And you ask the question, you have the answer, right? But I mean, it's like every single distraction is being pressured to be removed. And I'm talking addictions. We talked a little bit about this last time.
Yeah.
I'm noticing it in my diet. It's like I'm not even trying, and you know what I mean? It's weird. So that's pretty cool to me because I wonder what would my day be like? Not that it will be. No coffee, no cigarette.
I love cigarettes and coffie.
I know, me too. I'm just saying.
But only in the morning, yeah.
I'm just
except for the smokes. Except for the smokes,
But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even like eating a hamburger. I tried that the other night. I love hamburgers, and about 7 days into this understanding or whatever I was feeling, and I ate half of it. I'm like, man, I can't eat this. So there's something going on with that, and it's like and it's not judgment or anything, because I think it would go away no matter what, because your body would just reject it, or whatever it is that it is. But and that's kind of cool because to me there seems to be a relationship with the level of clarity.
Sure.
And I say clarity, I don't just mean what you see, but what you feel and how you function and how you understand things and how you flow and that fluidity that you're talking about.
Yeah, and a certainty and with the food and whatever, yeah, whatever your body literally works for you. You know, it could be, for me, I love chicken breasts and potato salad and fresh tomatoes and cucumbers, and
oh yeah,
seems to work. I could eat it every day.
Dude, I love fried chicken, tacos, eggs. I haven't had an egg in that. But here's the thing: I'm not ruling anything out.
Yeah,
and I'm not ruling anything in.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, if I'm driving down the road and I want to have a Mexican beer with a michelada, and that happens one day, it might happen. But
for sure, man.
You know, I'm just commenting on at least my own experience, where without judgment, there these distractions that are built in are fading away. Yeah. And that's pretty cool, because imagine a whole world walking around in pure presence, or even like, 80th percentile.
Oh, for sure, man. No, and it seems to be that with the amount of light, call it frequency, same thing, light frequencies, the same thing. Holding that in our physical light body requires a whole lot of, I guess, getting rid of distractions to a degree, whatever works for each person.
Yeah.
But it definitely, as you said, it's kind of definitely being brought up one way or the other because of the amount of light that we need to, frequency that we need to hold to keep kind of flowing with it, which is kind of cool.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on, man. It's always good getting together with you. Thank you for coming back on.
Todd, every time we talk, it's just like, I just vibe with you so good, and you always make everyone feel so comfortable, and really promote people being themselves. And it's a very special thing that you do with Morgan and the whole community involved with this. It's just, it's going to grow. It's all of what we talked about before is going to happen. It's happening. It's because it's very authentic and real. Yeah,
we just need to be quiet, or I do. Be quiet and get out of the way.
Pretty much.
All right, brother.
All right, dude.
Take care. We'll be back in an hour and 45 minutes with Athena Spark. Yeah.
Cool.